Hey guys, good Wednesday morning, and thanks for checking out your latest long-range forecast update. Michael Clark here with BAM Weather for your latest outlook. All right, we're going to talk about the pattern here in the short term. First frost threat of the season that our team has been covering for multiple weeks. In fact, that's showing up right on time. I'm pretty excited about that forecast as well. And then a look at a bigger front coming again mid-month and what to expect here over the next several weeks. This is a look here this morning at clarity. At radar this morning, you can see here we're looking at the cold front starting to make its way across the country here. And I tell you what, we are looking at some rainfall that has come through with this. At least that's kind of been nice to see some rain come through in much needed areas, if you will, here this morning, as we're seeing heavy shower and thunderstorm activity down across the deep south, here across the central U.S. and up across the northern portions of the country as well. Yeah, some rain, some thunderstorms, right? Some severe weather ripped through yesterday. This is a look here at the precipitation from normal the last 14 days. It's been wet in the northern plains, the Pacific Northwest. Variability and hit or miss precipitation here from Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. Some spots it's gotten really heavy rain, and some spots haven't got much rain at all. Case in point, central Illinois versus far western Illinois and southeast Iowa. Drier than dry there, and then you have very wet conditions there across portions of central Illinois. So nonetheless, interesting to say the least, dry across the Ohio Valley. We do have some rain coming though, okay? Well, we do have some rain coming here in the Ohio Valley. It will be welcomed here tomorrow with the front and the arrival of the colder air. It's been very warm, though. This is temperatures from normal the last 14 days. Cold in the east, cold in the west, warm in the central U.S. The cold front coming in, we've talked about for a long time, is going to knock all this down and bring temperatures that are going to feel 40 degrees colder for a lot of people this weekend. I mean, it's going to feel dramatically colder than it has. Break out the hoodies and fire up the fires, right, and get ready. We've got a big front coming through. Here we are right now, day one, day two. Here comes the cold front, day three. The front's swinging through and bringing in that blast of autumn-like air. Here's out and through early next week. Big deep trough here, Great Lakes, Northeast. This is actually a piece of the tropospheric polar vortex that's coming down. So this will feature very cold air. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked at some overperforming overnight low temperatures, possibly some record lows in the Great Lakes, interior Northeast, not out of the question here. As I continue to roll forward, watch what happens. Watch what starts to happen with the ridging and the overall pattern. This is day 9, 10, 11, day 12, 13, 14. Look what the pattern's starting to do. We're starting to see some consistency develop in terms of a couple of features. All right, what I want to do is draw here. And what we're seeing is this feature here starting to kind of become more pronounced. This is the PNA. This is typical of getting into El Nino episodes, if you will, this time of year, seeing that PNA pop and the trough into the east. The thing is to watch is some conflicting signals, and we're going to talk about that in just a second. This is rainfall from the FROPA. I would call the old FROPA as the frontal passage, right? Rain will come to the deep south in Texas and Arkansas, heavy rain down there. Some places across Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois as well could see over an inch of rain with this. Locally high amounts, half inch, inch and a half of rain, not out of the question. Again, certainly welcomed rainfall in that regard. This is a look at the overnight low temperature forecast. You can see the front starting to come down. Here we are here by Friday morning, and 20s here in the far northern and northwestern plains. Getting into Saturday morning, many locations here are going to be looking at a hard freeze, even down in through portions of Nebraska. Okay, Nebraska, this freezing line really tries to stretch kind of right down in through here. And so if you are kind of in this area here, Saturday morning, I think there's going to be freezing going on, temperatures in the upper 20s. And then as we go forward here and we roll this into Sunday morning, I continue to think a hard frost is on tap across a large portion of the grain belt. And the question is going to be is, these mid 30s, how far south can they make it? I mean, I think anywhere north of this line, And then certainly kind of probably north of this line, maybe it's a frost in here and a harder frost in here. These temperatures are going to have the tendency to overperform, in my opinion, for low temperatures. Monday, we continue upper 30s, low 40s. Tuesday, it continues into the Great Lakes in the north and east. Another morning of frost likely here across northern Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, before the extremely cold temperatures from normal will depart. Okay, so what that's going to look like is colder east, warmer west, what I just talked about. Okay, it's going to feature an above normal precipitation pattern from Texas to Arkansas, southern Missouri, Illinois, Indiana up through Michigan, the interior north and east with the front passage. Week 2, it's interesting because we're still continuing to see the colder east signal. And I will tell you, in this time frame, I think the data stands a solid bit risk here at trending quite a bit colder in here, okay? Because I see a big front around the 14th of October, big cold front, another reinforcing shot of colder air. This one might bring colder air than the first front, all right? And possibly a little bit of a wetter signal in here as well. I would look for that trend in the forecast coming up. The reason I say that, strong indications in a westerly wind profile at 120, this indication here always tells our team there's a positive P&A coming, okay? The MJO forcing, strong phase 1 MJO forcing in the far western Indian Ocean there, far eastern Atlantic. So wouldn't be shocked to see a little bit of tropical activity try to surface as well in that regard. But this really here tells me that the potential for that warm west, cold east can hang through until probably mid-month. There's a couple of conflicting signals here, and I want to talk about this. The conflicting signal is phase 1 of the MJO. Significant correlation for a warm east, cool west setup, which is the opposite of what I just told you. And fairly high correlating values to a warmer east setup in an MJO1 situation. Here's the way I think this plays out. I think because of the variability in the autumn, the fall season, the transitioning seasons here, we're going to see periods where in between the fronts, the east can warm up and a lot of moisture can come from it. And then the front comes through, gets it cold again, and then knocks out some of the warmer departures, but brings precip with it. Again, because you look at the correlations, it's fairly highly correlated to a wetter pattern in phase 1. We've got the storm system coming tomorrow, and then we've got the next front coming through on the 14th, okay? And that, I think the MJO can have some use in this situation, giving that when we're not dealing with the big fronts, the default might be going back to warm out ahead of it, activity along with it. The reason I believe this is looking at East Asia, okay? We kind of see the ridge, and then the bigger trough swings through, and that's kind of a theme. We've kind of been seeing that. Look at the current pattern right now. Look at the ridge here. The trough comes through behind it. Wave after wave. You see multiple waves here. This is a very wavy pattern. It just tells me that it's up and down, okay? Strong cold fronts, decent warm-ups out ahead of it, probably some severe weather episodes to deal with in the mix of this is really the best way to look at this. Here's that next big front. Look at the GFS out ahead of this. The front comes through, okay, this weekend. Look how cold it gets. Boom, wow, it's freezing cold, right? Literally. And then out ahead of it, watch this. Watch the really, really significant flop back to warm. This is out in the extended of the GFS model, but it depicts what I'm saying nicely. And then the next front comes through and we get cold again, right? And so we kind of continue to see the up and down nature of that. And when you look at total rainfall in the GFS model, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. It's all of a sudden very wet in the Ohio Valley. And I think it's because the up and down nature of the front. That was the 0Z run. I don't think I have the 6Z data in quite yet. It's still kind of processing. But you can see just how wet that particular model run was. You look at the European ensemble. Again, it's wet here over the next 15 days. The ensemble of the GEFS and the Canadian model really gets it wetter in that time frame, okay? Especially in that 11 to 15 day time frame, all right? This is ignore this image here. So that's kind of the thought process. We look at the latest European weekly, getting out into the next, really the next 30 days or so. We watch the pattern late month into early October really kind of transition to a wetter pattern transition here overall. And again, I think that the up and down nature of this, that makes sense. Let's look at this real quick. Look at the North Pacific pattern here as we get out into next week. It really is replaced with a consistent trough, all right, with some ridging back up near the Kamchatka Peninsula up here in East Asia. And it's kind of that ridge west trough east outcome, right? Well, when we look at our top 5 Oceanic Nina indexes, the ONI, which just came in here, it rose here in the last, I think it's up to 1.3 or something. Look at the pattern, 15, 97, 82, 72, 65. These are some similar years. The pattern features overall warm west, cool east. Originally, some of the original ideas, this time of year, we bounce back and forth on ideas. It's tough because it's transitional season. The November forecast would possibly include an overall cooler than average CONUS in this particular setup. And when I look here, when I see this, I tend to go, okay, that can be supported. Majority of the country could be below normal in that regard after we go through the roller coaster ride of emotions here into October. So, guys, if you want daily detailed weather forecast updates, go to bamwx.com. All right, and check out what it is that we offer. We have a big upgrade coming, a huge new system coming called Clarity. I'm really excited to unveil that. If you're interested in what we have to provide to you on a daily basis, go check out our website, bamwx.com. You guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.